Hey Coach, should I set up an LLC or not? Today on the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, host of the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show and the Landlord Coach. It is really good to see you. Thank you for stopping by today. I know, I haven't been around. That's why it's the Daily-ish Show. I've had a really busy week. Just a lot of really cool stuff going on. Not great cool stuff, all of it. Our son had strep for a little bit, so I got to stay home with him on Tuesday, and you could tell when the younger ones are feeling better because they are a giant pain in the neck. But that's when you know that they're feeling better. It's when they're not up and moving around that you just you want to love on them. But yeah, on Tuesday I was pretty much ready to hand him over. but no, my bride got to stay home with him on Monday, and for those of you who knew, thanks for your prayers, thanks for your well wishes. But he is back up and running, and he is right as rain now. So now he's got to get caught up on all his schoolwork. Anyway, so that's why I wasn't around earlier part of the week. But again, this is why it's the Daily-ish Show. So you get to see me when you get to see me. But anyway, today we're going to talk about something really important. This has actually been something that's been floating around for quite a while. And this is a question I literally get probably 2 to 3 times a week, just from people maybe dropping me a message, through my personal messenger or through the Landlord Coach page here on Facebook or wherever you happen to be watching it. I don't get a whole lot of messages through YouTube. I don't know. Maybe you should, if you're on YouTube watching this, maybe reach out. But the question I get often is, should I set up an LLC or what? That's a conversation starter nearly all the time. And I'm in a couple of different forums where there's landlords seeking information, and they will put this question out there probably at least once or twice a week, it seems, that they're also getting the same information. So I'm going to give you my slant on this and, setting it up. And it almost always comes around to, well, I've got 3 duplexes, I've got 6 houses, I've got 20 properties, I've got, whatever it is. Is it time for me to set up an LLC? And, should I set up as an LLC that reports as an S Corp? Should I set up a C Corp? Should I do whatever it is? And some of you are probably not going to like this answer, because this answer it's not as straightforward as some of you are going to say, or some of you are going to hope to want anyway. It depends. And honestly, there's no right one answer, because it depends on the individual situation. And this is where, and I often see these answers come through from sublime to ridiculous. And some of the information or some of the advice is not bad that I see on these landlord forums, but it comes down to a couple different things. And what is it you're hoping to accomplish? If you're doing it to shield yourself from liability, okay, that's not a bad way to do it. But there's a couple of people that you really need to be talking to first. And this was actually, it was a really good point brought up too, because a lot of people want to go to an attorney first to talk about, well, should I set up an LLC? Well, of course, an attorney, I would hope, is going to give you advice that's not necessarily going to butter their own bread. I can tell you there's a lot of attorneys who are not making a killing setting up LLCs, although sometimes for what I see, what they charge for setting up an LLC is a little ridiculous. So I'm thinking, okay, well, why are you spending so much money, paying an attorney to set up an LLC? Because they're really not that complicated to do. So I get it. They've got to buy bread too, but some of them are charging in what I would consider to be excessive amounts. I'm not going to get into that because everybody's a little bit different in every different area. But the thing is, I would not only be asking an attorney to whether to set up an LLC. And this is something that I learned from an accounting friend of mine, Tressa Heath. She wrote a book. I'm not going to get it's called like the super duper fun part of accounting or something like that when you're setting up a business. It's a really good it brings to light a couple of things in the accounting world that a lot of people don't really think about. That you should really be asking not just an attorney about an LLC and setting all that up, but you also need to be talking to an accountant, specifically a CPA, specifically someone who is familiar with your setup, your world, your tax consequences, and all your tax world and everything else. And I'm going to go back even one step further and again say, what is it you're trying to accomplish? Are you in growth mode? Are you looking to buy more properties? And some of you, if I ask that question, if you're in the real estate space, you're like, yeah, I'm always in growth mode. I'm always looking to buy more. Okay, well, I mean, at what point would you say that you had enough? Would it be 20 paid in full properties? If you had 20 paid in full properties paying you $2,000 a month, I don't know about you, but that probably would satisfy most people's vision, unless you're really stuck on significance and you feel like you need to be, you need more than that. But, whatever. I'm not telling you it's wrong. I'm just saying many of you would probably be able to live a pretty comfortable vision with that kind of money coming through. But let's say whether it's 100 or 1,000 or whatever, you just wanted to keep buying rental properties. At some point, you're going to have to obviously protect yourself from people who may just want to sue you because they want what you have built, because that's just unfortunately the nature of the world. You build something cool, someone's going to want to try to take it from you. So, if you've got something truly of value, then the benefits of setting up an LLC and S Corp would probably do well for you. Keep in mind too, though, is you can help offset some of those risks with insurance, with liability insurance and things like that. But it does make sense for you to set up that corporate entity to protect your assets. Now, this where it starts to get a little wonky is people like, well, I bought the property in the name of, me personally, but now I'm trying to move the property over to an LLC and this and that. And this is where it starts to get complex. Where it even gets more complex is when you want to borrow in the name of that entity and you don't know how to do that, because let's face it, you've been building a property in the residential consumer world, and the residential consumer lending world will not lend to you in the name of a corporation. So now we're talking about commercial lending and, how to do that. Well, I talk a lot about this stuff in my course. I'm not promoting the course or anything. I'm not pushing that on you. I'm just saying there's a lot of different things that you just don't understand when you start setting up LLCs, and now all of a sudden you have to, depending on the state that you live in, you have to make sure that you file reports to that entity, and you pay the state fee every year or 2 or 3, whatever it is in your state. But there's lots that go into it. So, there's lots of good advice out there and there's lots of bad advice out there. And I don't say the bad advice is wrong factually. I'm just saying it's not based on what you specifically are trying to accomplish. So here's kind of my 3 points. Number 1, what's your vision? What is it you're trying to accomplish? That's got to be the lens you look through for everything. At what level you're trying to get to, or what are you trying to protect yourself from? Okay. Once you kind of have an idea in terms of what your vision is, what you're trying to accomplish, then you could, obviously, you need to talk to your CPA. Does it make sense? Should I be setting these up as an LLC? What are the tax consequences if I do? What am I going to have to? Am I going to have to pay extra? If I'm going to be filing these through as an LLC, does it make any difference at all? Will it have an impact? I mean, for some of you it won't. For some of you it will, because especially if it becomes pretty much your sole source of income, then things are going to be a little bit different tax-wise, right? You might have to set up as an S Corp. But again, that's a conversation that you would have with your tax accountant. Then third and finally, talk to an attorney. What is it you're trying to accomplish? You want to make sure that the advice that you're getting is from people who are not have no stake in your success, that are telling you things on Facebook, or even me. Like I always say, make sure you have a competent professional to get advice from, because let's face it, even me as a coach, a lot of times with my coaching students, I have to tell them, make sure you're talking specifically to an attorney. I can't possibly know every avenue of where they're at and financially and all their different assets. That's why you pay an attorney, and that's why you pay a CPA. All right. I told you, it probably wasn't going to be the answer you were hoping for. There's no one right answer, but there is definitely a one right answer for you. right? So there's no one right answer for everybody. There is one right answer for you. So that's what I would suggest. Get the advice of a competent professional that knows specifically what your world is all about. And that's all I have for today. So please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, of course, someone else will. And most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys next time.